Hi everybody, this is Chuck, and today our video today is called USA versus Vietnam, and really it's just more of a comparison. It's certainly not a competition, it's just a comparison. And there's a lot to compare, and it's kind of interesting. Also, I have fretted over this. I've written it and rewritten it and rewritten it and loved it and hated it, and so let's, and I don't know how long this is going to turn out to be, but I will try to get through it pretty quickly. And I don't want to speak too quickly because you just won't understand me. So let's read through this at a normal, sane pace and get it over with, okay? So the differences between the USA and Vietnam. So first of all, let's get a couple of definitions out of the way. Capitalism and communism, what are they? The dictionary definition goes like this. Capitalism, an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state, versus communism, a political theory derived from Karl Marx advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. And this is wholly inadequate for the scope of this video. The real differences between the USA and Vietnam are much more subtle. Seasoned travelers will understand. The major differences I see between the two is that one country, Vietnam, has a single-party political structure, and the US has a two-party political structure. The government in Vietnam looks a lot like the Catholic Church. Imagine a vertical cone with layers of hierarchies which promote their top members up the chain of command. People get promoted because of educational achievement, experience, connections, brains, and ultimately there are three guys at the top in Vietnam, a president, a vice president, and a prime minister, and yes, there are elections inside one party. So the locals elect people to represent them, and then those people, if they're good enough, climb up the chain of command, ascend up the party. Over the years, the Constitution has been clarified to aid the development of all economic sectors, permitting private enterprise and granting foreign investors the right to legal ownership of their capital and assets, while guaranteeing that their property would not be nationalized by the state. And that last little bit I just copied out of Britannica.com. Really, Vietnam is very capitalistic, but it's also left-leaning socialistic. It's just run by one party. There are a bunch of bureaucrats running agencies just like we have in the States. If you really want to read up on Vietnam, and I encourage you to do so, go to Britannica.com and search on Vietnam government and society. Also, the CIA Country Fact Book is a fabulous source to get accurate information about countries. And you can learn Vietnamese and come here and research it all from the origins. Learn Vietnamese. It's kind of fun. It's not that difficult. The grammar's easy. Yeah, it's just words. I suspect my audience is pretty mixed internationally at this point, so let me touch on the USA. So we have a two-party political system, the Democrats and the Republicans, and depending on your perspective, everyone involved are complete idiots who got elected from their hollers in Georgia and Colorado and pull a total hillbillies go to Washington routine. It seems that if you're a Democrat, you hate all the Republicans, and if you're a Republican, you hate all of the Democrats. That's what it looks like from the outside, really. The news tells us to do that, right? Our media has us divided big time. Big time. It's just crazy. And moderates don't hate anybody. Thank God for the moderates. We elect our representatives, and hopefully the people we elect are up to the task and can acclimate to the crazy life of DC politics. We need to more thoroughly vet the people we send to DC. The problem with politicians is that they will do anything to get elected, including selling their souls to the devil. And that is the actual baseline from which most of them operate. They are all corporate whores. The corporations run everything, write the laws, and own the politicians. It's a disastrous system and needs some real reforms, such as publicly funded elections to totally remove corporate influence from the election process and to make lying in the news illegal. There is so much garbage online and in the airwaves. Yeah, yikes at U.S. politics. Grab the popcorn. It's fun to watch and fun to participate in. Go vote. Go vote. Absolutely, go vote. Okay, so the next thing I compared is policing in the U.S. versus policing in Vietnam. So, let's backtrack a little bit. So, the Vietnamese government, it's and the U.S. government, they're both struggling in this world to make things right, and to compare the two, which one's better? Which one's better? I mean, I don't know which one's better. You know, they seem to work. Vietnam is booming like crazy. The U.S. is booming like crazy. God, who knows? COVID is like total disaster in the U.S. Here, it's totally contained, totally managed. So, you know, who's to say which government's better? So, anyway. So, policing in the U.S. versus policing in Vietnam. We all see the horrors of the news of cops shooting people, shooting black people seemingly without provocation. It's almost like the white supremacists have infiltrated the police ranks and know they can get away with killing anybody they want. They control the evidence in the reports, and they look at black killings as a badge of honor among their white supremacist ranks. That is really how it appears to anyone who is paying attention. And policing in America is going to undergo a serious renovation process. It needs to be demilitarized, and lots of training needs to happen. Also, trained psychologists acting as de-escalation personnel should be the first to approach any situation. Simple, right? Really, we need to better fund and expand the mental health crisis training our police and ambulance people get, and seriously root out the white supremacists from the ranks of the police and all extremists. I should really figure out a teleprompter. What do you think? Okay, so that's kind of my take on the U.S. The cops are, you know, I'm a white person and I've never been hassled by the cops for anything. You know, I've gotten a few speeding tickets and pulled over for stupid stuff, right? But I'm a white person. You know, I can't imagine being a black person in the U.S. and living in fear of being shot by the cops. I mean, that's just got to be horrible. It's like a war zone all the time. It's got, you know, like a war zone for them all the time. So, okay, let's talk about the Vietnamese. The police in Vietnam are pretty amazing in the sense that they don't patrol other than standing on the street and flagging people over for license and or alcohol violations. But they don't patrol. They don't cruise the streets. They stay in their barracks until they are called. Only the senior guys carry sidearms. Perhaps 1 in 20 policemen are armed. They carry white reflective batons and use them to flag people over. They will set up a table on the side of the road at a place where they can easily pull someone over for flipping an illegal U-turn or ditching into a parking lot to avoid a red light. We see them occasionally, and also they are not to be messed with. It is a well-trained police force. I got pulled over for a license check. It was about a month after I got my license. I showed it to the cop, and in perfect English, he said, "Okay, Charles, you can go." And yes, my experience is almost entirely in Da Nang. So, you know, in perfect English, he said, "Yes, Charles," or "Okay, Charles, you can go." In perfect English, you know. So they're well trained, and they're, you know, dealing with the vast, varied population from all over the world here. So I don't know how many languages they know, but man, just some random guy pulled me over and, "Okay, Charles, you can go," after he saw my license. So anyway, and yes, my experience is almost entirely in Da Nang. I'm not sure if it's different in Hanoi or Saigon. So basically, the cops don't carry guns and they don't patrol. We could learn a thing or two from them. I made a video about getting our motorbike licenses here in late 2019. Search in my channel for the word license and you can see that video. It's kind of a rigmarole, and I don't know how. I haven't talked to Lynn. Lynn Visa is the one that organized that, and I don't know how her process has changed. I'm sure it's changed a lot, and so anyway, watch that, and then it's probably something different, but similar. It's going to be similar. Okay. Traffic in the U.S. versus traffic in Vietnam. So this is, you know, a really interesting comparison. In the U.S., there are lots of rules and regulations regarding traffic, and it's all about keeping people safe. We don't want people hauling ass through our neighborhoods when and where little kids are out playing, and mainly city speed limits are a standard 25 or 30 miles an hour. Freeways and highways are generally well built, and the designs are always being tested and tweaked with safety in mind, and cops patrol and pull you over for no taillight or farting too loud with your windows down. Drivers in the U.S. mostly are average. There are some well-trained and experienced drivers, and there are some really bad drivers. Mostly people stop at lights and stop signs and don't speed and stay on the proper side of the road and in their lane. Yes, there are crashes, so it's not perfect because, you know, of people. And remember, the number one rule of safe driving is always be increasing your following distance. Let me say that again. That's kind of important. I'm a well-trained driver. I got trained to drive in the Army a little bit. I got trained to drive a school bus, 2 weeks of intense training, and I also got trained to drive a city bus in Denver. So that was a month of training. So I've had a lot of driver training, and I'm a pretty good driver. So, and this is the rule out of all that I've distilled. This is the rule that will keep you safe. The number one rule of safe driving is always to be increasing your following distance. Always be increasing your following distance. Like, once again, always be increasing your following distance. Okay? That'll keep you safe. The further away people are in front of you, the more reaction time you have, basically. Okay, and I'm getting preachy here, so let me move on. In Vietnam, again, my experience is almost entirely Da Nang. The concept of flow is the rule of the day. I haven't seen one stop sign in Da Nang. Nobody stops for anything. It's all about flow. It's just keep it going. Keep it going, keep it going. We don't want traffic jams. Keep it going. That's the main driving rule. It's flow. Flow, flow, flow. Keep it going. There are no stop signs. There are traffic lights on the main roads, and quite a few people just blow through them. Traffic circles are common. People enter and exit, meshing their way through the crazy traffic. The Viets cut corners, and when turning left, they will ride down the inside of the opposite lane and work their way over to the right. So you're cruising along on your motorbike, and you know, it's normal driving on the right here, and people are coming this way, you know, normally, and you get somebody who hangs, they're turning left, and they hug the curb, and they'll come up on your right side, and then work their way over to the traffic going that way. And a lot of people do it, and it's really common, and don't be surprised if somebody's coming down your lane, and there's a lot of that. People go in the wrong direction all the time. So you gotta, but they're on motorbikes, so they're easy to miss, you know. But it's dangerous, and okay, so let's keep going here. So also, this is a world of motorbikes. There are some cars here, but mostly it's trucks and motorbikes, and it's crazy. I don't know what level of training the Viets go through to get their driver's licenses, but they have not been trained in low beam, high beam etiquette. Half of the ones who actually turn their headlights on have them on high beam, and the other half of motorcyclists ride around with no headlights on at all, so we are forced into Kepler spotting, which means you can only see them when they block the light behind them. I see Viets on their phones in crazy traffic. I see all kinds of things being transported by trailer behind a motorbike. I've seen a ton of rebar on a trailer, a ton of bricks, and the one that gets me is the corrugated sheet metal on a trailer. The guy driving doesn't realize that if he gets rear-ended, he'll be chopped in half. Seriously, you know. That siding or roofing, you know, that's like 3 feet wide and 20 feet long, it's stacked, you know, on a trailer, parallel to the road, and he gets hit from behind, boom, he's going to get cut in half, and he doesn't even know it. Or he hasn't thought his way through it, because if he had, he wouldn't be doing it. After we are here for a while, we have a choice about whether to escalate our anger. There are 100 times a day to justify anger escalation, or just chuckle and flash the word accommodate inside your foreheads. That is the word of the season. Accommodate them, love them, accommodate them. We are their guests. Drive slowly, drive super defensively, be aware of what's around you, and no drinking. I have a close call 3 times a day, and I avoid them because my response time is not subdued by alcohol. Yeah, it's a big problem, you know. I have seen 4 fresh dead bodies on the road since I've been here, and I would bet alcohol was a factor in all of them. And really, the biggest danger is being hit from behind by a young guy on a motorbike going way too fast, and you make a move to the left or to the right faster than he can respond. So use your blinkers, anticipate where you're going well in advance, do some map reading, you know, understand where you're going, and change lanes slowly. Also, riding here is really fun. It's dangerous but manageable danger, and super enjoyable and freaking crazy. Driving here, it's like skiing on a beginner slope that's really crowded. Skiing on a giant beginner slope that's really crowded, and you've got people going, and you're missing on little kids, and, well, not, there are little kids, you know? Little kids on bicycles, junior high kids on electric motorbikes, and then I'm not sure what age they can get their driver's license and get on motorbikes. But there are old guys on tricycles, and it's just, God, dangerous, fun. You got to be on your game, on your A game. Okay, let's talk about density. Compare the geography of Vietnam versus the U.S. for a second here. Vietnam is 331,000 kilometers squared, and the USA is 9.8 million kilometers squared, so the U.S. is a lot bigger. Although Vietnam's not small. I mean, it's as tall as the west coast of the U.S., so 1,400 miles tall, maybe. And there's a big bulb at the top and a big bulb at the bottom and kind of a narrow middle, right? And it curves around the coast. Look at the maps, do some map reading, right? I'm always saying that. USA has 328 million people. Vietnam has 97 million people. So for Vietnam, that is 292 people per square kilometer, versus the USA, which has 33 people per square kilometer, and it's really evident in the cities. Where I live, Son Cha Peninsula, Cha is spelled T-R-A, Son Cha. After you get here, it's Son Tra, and then you realize that you're not pronouncing anything right. Son Tra Peninsula in Da Nang reminds me of 1930 Santa Monica. Parts of it are sparsely populated with mansions and gorgeous beaches. But if you cross the river to the west and get into downtown Da Nang, it is really busy and really crowded. Eventually, where I live will become a lot more densely populated. We're going to kind of quickly blow through three things: social net, education, and healthcare. And the reason is because I didn't really know anything about these, so I asked a friend of mine who's an attorney. And this conversation happened on Facebook Messenger. My friend's name is Gina. For this purpose, I changed her name, okay? And we talked about three different things: social net, education, healthcare. Okay, so this is a messenger conversation that I've edited and tried to make more understandable. But if it's me, I'm asking questions. If it's her, she's answering. So, and it starts here. Can you clarify something? My friend Swan says she pays 120,000 VND a year for some kind of national health insurance, and she says it doesn't cover much. Pretty much, she just has to pay out of pocket for medical care. She also said she remembers paying a total of 35 million VND for 4 years of her undergraduate degree here at the University of Da Nang, and she said there's a small pension for government retirees, about 7 million VND a month. Can you add to these three topics, please? Tell me about any retirement plans or social net systems, official or unofficial. How much was your law degree? How do you handle medical costs? Do you have insurance? Gina, thank you for waiting for me. This is busy time for me because I have to help my daughter. She is going to have exams next week, but I can make quick answers. Okay, education is almost free for public school. My son had a scholarship, so we had to pay a little money for his university here for 2 years. My daughter, I had to pay $8 million per month for her primary school before, but just a little bit for her public high school now. Was her primary school private? Yes, before 6 years ago. The law degree, the fee was 3 times the tuition. The fee means take care of teachers, photocopy, parties, etc. Okay, and then I asked, do you have a 4-year undergraduate degree with an additional 2 or 3 years of law school? Gina, yes, 4 plus 2 years. Gina, the high school of my son was specialized school, then we didn't pay anything, and the government gave him 500,000 VND per month. Gina, healthcare, I just add money to my Medicare online, around 800,000 VND per year, but cheaper for student, around 500,000 VND for students. Okay, so I ask, say you have a stomach ache and go to the hospital and they want to run a scope down your throat and up from below. Will your Medicare cover those procedures, or will you have to pay out of pocket? Gina, it depends on who you are. 100% for those who work for the Army. For your 800,000 dong a year coverage, Gina, 95% for those who are retired and 80% for me, which means I have to pay 20%. Could I sign up for that? Gina, if you have a business, yes, you can. I guess. I need to check. Does a YouTube channel count? Is your YouTube channel a company? No, it's just me. Gina, okay, so retirement is next? Yes, please. Social net in general. If someone makes little money from vending on the street and gets too old to work, what happens to them? Gina, sorry they don't have anything for retirement. The government doesn't help them. They need to save the money for the future. Is there still a strong family bond here, such as extended family households, where the old and the middle and the young all live under one roof? Is this still common and the roof has been paid for a long time ago? Yes, that describes my ex's house. How common is that? 70% of Vietnamese society? So Gina says, there are his parents, he and his brother and sister and his grandchildren live together. Yes, nice, I love that. Gina, I think 80 to 90% before and 50 to 60% now. And I make the comment, yes, affluence in modern society is taking over. Thumbs up from Gina. She gave me a thumbs up in Messenger. So this is really the standard social net, extended families living together? Yes, I think so. At my parents' house, I have 5 brothers and sisters, and one of my brother lives with his parents and his small family. Lives with my parents and his small family. Oh, nice. Okay, so I work for the Army as a soldier for 25 years. What is Army retirement age? 25 years for male, 20 years for female. What about civilian working for the Army or government? How much of a pension for 25 years of service after? Depends on your salary. Yes, do you know the percentage? 50%? Sorry, I didn't know how much. Let me check. So she comes back with, from 45 to 75% depending on how long you work for the Army. Okay, pensions. Are companies required by law to create pensions? Yes, they have to create. The companies have to pay the government every month. So when I retire from XYZ company after 35 years of service, my pension money comes from a government-run trust or a privately run trust. All of them are from the government. The pensions are held in offshore trusts such as, okay, so this is me asking this. The pensions are held in offshore trusts such as Hong Kong or Cyprus, and the VN government manages them? Yes, I think they invest everywhere, and people don't know that. Hopefully they are wise and honest investors. As an example, I paid into Social Security in the States for a minimum of 40 quarters, in reality many more. And I now get X amount of money a month from the Social Security Administration, but not everybody gets it. And our Social Security has a minimum of paying into it for 40 quarters, 10 years of working. Gina, it sounds similar to what is happening here. Yes, VN government manages them. Exactly, it's the Ministry of Labor, War Invalids, and Social Affairs. Oh, very cool. Yes, good information. Thanks, you've been a huge help. Can you find out if I, as a solo person, can sign up for your Medicare, please? Anyway, thanks for your help, dear. I appreciate it. Gina, you are welcome. I will check it out and let you know later about the Medicare here. Thanks, dear. Okay, so many thanks to Gina. Okay, you know who you are. And everybody calls everybody dear here. My landlady started doing it, and then I started calling her dear, and then I call Swanee dear. I've called Gina dear over the years, and it's really common, at least in my little world. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, so many thanks to Gina. You know who you are. So to wrap up, we have covered communism versus capitalism. Both of these countries are capitalist. It's debatable about which form of government is better. Vietnam is our 6th largest trading partner. You should see all the Peterbilt tractors and Ford Rangers rolling around here. Policing, hands down, I prefer Vietnamese policing. Hands down, I prefer Vietnamese policing. The traffic here is crazy, but certainly follows in its own logic of flow, and it's dangerous and really fun. It's like skiing. Oh, here it is. It's like skiing a giant beginner slope on a very crowded day. And that's pretty accurate. And so you got to be careful. Density, Asia is crowded and dense. I live on the coast because of fresh air. You know, that's why I decided on Da Nang, because it's on the coast. And Hanoi and Saigon can get dirty air. Whew. I live on the coast because of fresh air. Sometimes I think I should trade in my fresh air for the vibrant city life of Saigon, and I still might, you know. Probably not for very long. Probably on my way to somewhere else, maybe spend 3 months there. On my way to somewhere else, who knows, we'll see. Social net and retirement, I think with the extended family households here, and the social net is perhaps not as wealthy, but just as solid, if not more, than the U.S. if your entire family is living in a house that's been paid for a long time, and every generation is there, and it just keeps going and going and going, I mean, that's a pretty solid safety net, I would think. Education, there are great schools here, and there are private and public schools. University education is very cheap. Private schools are not cheap. Healthcare here is all over the place. In Da Nang, we have many public and private hospitals. The Viets will travel to Hanoi or Saigon for specialists if they have the money. The public hospitals here are cheap, and they all have decent reputations. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Vin Mek is one of the expensive private hospitals that's got a good reputation, but General Hospital here is a big hospital downtown, and it has a great reputation, and it's cheap, and there are, a family hospital, women's and children's hospital, there's a dermatology hospital, I think there are like 40 hospitals here, and a lot of them are specialized, so healthcare is cheap and easy to find. So my friend David spent a week in the hospital with dengue fever, and it cost him $500. And private insurance is available, but it has a very mixed reputation. You read through the Facebook forums on people talking about insurance, and they are, some people are saying, oh yeah, it's great, they pay on time, and other people are saying, no, it's horrifying, you just spend a whole bunch of money and you're never going to get anything out of it. And they go into detail about their experiences, and it's like, eek. And other people say it's better here just to save $200 a month and have a fund to draw on. Hopefully, this is a reasonable assessment between Vietnam and the U.S. Like I said earlier, if you are coming here, read up on it. Britannica.com is a good resource, as well as the CIA Country Fact Book. Enjoy yourselves out there and love your fellow humans. Right? Love your fellow humans. We're all in this together, and we're fed so much bullshit all the time. And some people buy into the bullshit, other people have filters for bullshit, but in the end, we're all on the same planet, we're all living in the same space. We need to love each other, we need to be good to each other. Give some people some space, give some people some slack. Accommodate, that's the rule of the day, the word of the day, accommodate. Accommodate your fellows. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.